Right now, the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into state capture will today continue to hear testimony from former SAA CFO Phumeza Nhantsi. It will also hear evidence from Director of BNP Capital Daniel Mahlangu, who's alleged to have had a close relationship with the son of SAA Chair Dudu Myeni. Nhantsi has explained to the State Capture Commission in Johannesburg why the SAA board felt the need to appoint transactional advisors in the controversial 15 billion rand loan deal. We spoke to Mbali about these transactional advisors yesterday, and we welcome her once again. Mbali, interesting testimony yesterday. Some analysts asking if this is one of those CFOs once again who are going to claim not to know about things that were happening right under their nose.
Yeah, that is the sense you get from social media, Twitter. People are already making their comments, and they're basically saying that, it's a repeat of, some of the, it's a repeat testimony. It sounds similar to what other CFOs have said, and they were just comparing it to a CFO that appeared before the PIC Commission. But just going back to the State Capture Inquiry and basically just her testimony, she basically, almost as though she plays this defense that she was fairly new. Decisions when she was new on the job, and 2 days later and 4 days later she was meant to make these really big decisions, and she just explains that she wasn't aware of how things were done, and she was just still trying to settle in, and she thought that's how things were done. I mean, she explained to the commission that 2 days rather into her job, she was given a number by then chairperson Dudu Myeni to speak to what was supposed to be her personal advisor, and she said she noted that this particular person, Masocha, wow, why is the surname escaping me? But Masocha was there, and he was basically the personal advisor that was not on the payroll, and she was basically told that she needed to speak to this particular gentleman with regards to the 15 billion rand consolidation loan and so on. So you get the sense that you had this third party that was involved in board decisions
of the SAA.
Yes, and also involved in executive decisions. And you heard Judge Raymond Zondo asking if she didn't think this was strange at all, and she basically says that it was still very early on, it was still early days, and she just dismissed it as, anyway, this is Dudu's person. As you can hear, you can hear some of the testimony from her, this clip that we have prepared.
Shall we play that?
Yes.
In terms of the delegation of authority, this transaction is the board's decision, because I knew that any transaction that is above 50 million rands, the board needs to take a decision. So when they took a decision in declining the secrets in the consortium of the banks and taking a decision of us engaging with FDC, I thought at the time the board, I didn't have any reason to believe that there's anything untoward.
So over there, she's just talking about this consolidation and basically what happened, what transpired ahead of this. And she's basically explaining that, the decision was taken by the board, and she had no reason to believe, there was anything untoward relating to this transaction. But she later told the commission that, she realized in retrospect that she was probably used as a scapegoat of sorts, because this loan that she was advised to finalize from the FDC, which is the Free State Development Corporation, which was not really mandated to finance an SOE. Yes. And she says she later found out that, one of the executives from the FDC is a relative of Esma Khashule. And that's when she thought, that's when she started putting the dots together. She realized that she may have been set up for failure. But now we know that decision never went through after National Treasury had written to SAA informing them that, the FDC was not mandated to fund SOEs.
How far does this latest testimony take us in the story of a state capture at the SAA?
You know, I think with regards to state capture at SAA, because she's one of the second and the next witness is going to be the third, we're still just, you know, putting pieces together. You know, each witness comes in and paints a different picture, and it's basically just one piece to the puzzle. You actually start getting a full picture and a bigger get a sense of the bigger picture when you are on witness number 5 or so on. But you also heard her talking about how the board had said that the SAA did not have certain skills in particular. But she's basically painting the same picture that you've heard in the past, where you have different reasons. Basically, you have a management or the executives coming up with all kinds of reasons to hire transaction advisors, you know, and that's why she says in her testimony that, you know, she was told by the board, if the board felt that they did not have the internal or the necessary skills to perform this particular, you know, loan consolidation, they had every right to go and source external consultants to come in and do the work. So you get the sense that, you know, it's similar to what has happened at other SOEs, that, you know, you have executives coming in and saying this is what we need, and creating some farce and creating some sense of emergency in the interest of a particular company. And in this interest, it was BNP
when none
Capital.
exists, really.
Yes, when none exists. I mean, listening to this clip that I've also prepared, is she talks about how, you know, the justification for having hired transaction advisors, which, you know, we heard last week were not needed really, because we had someone from a former risk manager at SAA saying that we had the skills, my department could have done it, and I was rather uncomfortable that my department and myself were not included and were not even given permission to even get access to documents relating to this particular transaction and to this particular contract, you know, because she was privy to those documents. But then she's later suspended and told that she was not privy to those documents. But let's listen to the clip.
The board has got a right as well to feel, if they feel that there's no expertise for this transaction internally, they do have a right to source it externally.
Yes, I guess the point is, if they feel, well, it would be a justified decision if, as a matter of fact, those expertise were lacking within SAA. Is that not correct?
Yes, it would be justified.
If they were available internally, then the decision to go externally would not be justified.
It would not be justified.
So as you said, Ms. Nhantsi was starting to connect the dots. Did she take responsibility for her actions as soon as she was able to realize that something was amiss?
You know, you from her testimony, you get the sense that she was somewhat misled. She justified earlier some of her decisions as being part of, you know, the supply chain management policy, and, you know, saying that there was nothing untoward with the decisions that were made. They were all above board, and, you know, she fulfilled her fiduciary duties, which involved basically protecting the company's assets as well as protecting the company's finances. But she later on admits that, you know, maybe in hindsight, she should have actually pressed the board and found out from the board if they had done proper due diligence on some of the resolutions that they had taken, because we know that the decision to source funding from the FDC was a board resolution that was taken on the 3rd of December in 2015, and at the time no due diligence had been done with regards to this, and yet you hear that other bidders from that whole transaction were basically rejected because there was no due diligence. And she just says that, you know, she would have pressed the board on certain issues, you know, but you get the sense that she's very remorseful and regrets some of the decisions and her role in having, you know, made the decisions that were made at SAA. We know that she was later suspended and fired from SAA last year for financial misconduct.
Let's throw forward to Daniel Mahlangu's testimony today. What can we expect, especially with the assertion that he might have been close to the former chairperson, Dudu Myeni?
Well, definitely. I mean, with every witness, they come in to try and explain why they did what they did and try to justify and give, reason and basically say that everything was above board. So we do expect him to explain and give his version of events and try to explain why he felt the deal was above board and how all the rules were obviously followed. But you have Advocate Kate Hofmeyer basically always, referring back to the rules and saying that, do you understand that maybe this was incorrect in this manner and in that manner? So we're expecting to hear that from this particular witness coming in.
Having covered this testimony, what is your sense as a journalist in terms of the things that actually did go wrong in terms of governance?
Well, I think in terms of governance, what we've heard from last week's witness is what Stimple said with regards to the board's interference in procurement decisions. And she basically says that should have never happened. And you get the sense that maybe if the board was not so involved in procurement processes, they would have never really made the decisions that were made.
Mbali, thank you so much for talking to us this morning. So you're going there this morning, proceedings start?
At 10.
At 10, thank you so much. Mbali Mthethwa will be talking to us later on from Parktown.